The case for these earbuds stick on your phone with MagSafe. Let's check these out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at another pair of earbuds. It is a hugely popular sector and millions of units are sold, but there's not a lot of innovation in the design until these. These are the Artronic's KOMUTR TWS MagSafe earbuds, and I'll open it up so you can see the earbuds inside are a pretty standard design, very similar to what you might get from, say, Apple. And the case is definitely different though, because on this side you can see that MagSafe ring. So I have my iPhone 15 Pro and it just fits on. And now it's going to stay on. And here's what's really cool is you can leave the flap open and you have a convenient stand. But much more useful is that you can actually take these off and put these in your ears and then listen to music. And then whenever you're done listening to music or phone calls or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever, then you can just go ahead and put them back in here. And there's 2 electrical contact points on the side of each one, which is an easy way to make sure you put them in the right sides. And it's now going to just sit and charge, and super easy to work with. Let me tell you more about them. They feature 8mm drivers and 20 to 20,000 hertz frequency response, and there are 3 microphones per earbud, which gives you ENC, which is environmental noise canceling. So that's circuitry in the earbuds so that if you're in a noisy environment, then it'll reduce that background noise. They also support ANC, or active noise cancellation, for when you're listening. And so ANC is, again, you're in a noisy environment, but you want to hear what's on your earbuds, not hear all that environment around you. And we open the box. It's a nice box here, and I'll open this up. Let's see, it opens this way. Then it does include fairly little in the box, but one of the things that is included are different size ear tips. So it has 3 different size ear tips, and I say this all the time, I'll say it again, take the time to experiment with different sizes to find the ones that work best for your ears. So it will have a manual. I have a late production prototype, so it's 99% but not 100% the same. It will have a user guide or a manual in here. There's no charging cable, but honestly, you really probably have plenty of cables that you'd need anyway. How do you charge it? Well, USB-C is the answer. So you charge it via USB-C. Now, I'm going to guess that the 2nd gen will be able to charge via MagSafe, because that would be really cool, except Apple has never allowed that reverse charging. So from Apple's perspective, with iPhones, MagSafe is power in, but not power out. Other Android devices that have MagSafe, or I should say that have Qi charging, actually can charge other devices, which is kind of cool, actually. And really big important news in that whole wireless charging space is that Qi 2 is now a standard supported by phones like the Google Pixel 10, which means that this will work magnetically with a Google Pixel 10, and I'm not sure, I don't think the Pixel 10 supports reverse Qi charging, but it'll give you that same benefit. It'll give you a stand, it'll be super convenient. Obviously, it's slim enough that you can easily slip this into your pocket with the earbuds actually in the case. And so this is super portable and super convenient. The batteries, the earbuds themselves, have 800 milliamp hour batteries, which gives you 6 to 8 hours of playback time. The company says if you're using ANC, then it's going to be a little less, and then you get at least 3 more charges out of the case. So you should have a 30-hour full runtime without having to recharge anything here. And again, when you're ready, USB-C is easy enough. And it does have its own app, the KOMUTR app. I'll show you that in just a second, actually. The earbuds are sweat resistant. They're small, they're thin, they're comfortable. I will say, when I put them in my ear, It's ready to go. It's super comfortable. I have taken walks with this. I have used these in various noisy environments, and it works well. And that ANC is definitely one that works well too. They do have smart touch controls, so the outside surfaces you can tap on. Here's a preview of what some of those look like or how they work. It also works with Apple Find My, which is great. So you will not lose your case because you'll be able to track it just like you would with, say, Apple AirPods Pro. The buds themselves are 0.14 ounces, so they're ridiculously light, and the case is less than half an inch thick, even with this. And just to sort of state the obvious, not only can you use it this way, but you can also use it this way. So it gives your phone a lot of flexibility. But what I want to do is I want to give you two demos. So the first one is I'm going to just let you hear my voice as recorded by my phone. And then for the second one, we'll jump into the KOMUTR app and have a look at how that works. So let me just get stuff set up. Now what you're hearing is my voice is recorded by the Artronic KOMUTR TWS MagSafe Earbuds. And as you can hear, it does a pretty good job. They actually are very listenable for someone on the other end of a phone call, for example. Though, of course, as with most earbuds, really their focus is more on giving you the best response and the best music and the best sound, but still pretty darn good. Now, let me switch things up a little bit again, and this time we'll check out the app. Now you can see the app, and they tell me this is the final version of the app, but again, there might be slight variation in what you would see because I am using this late production prototype. But let's see, instead of holding it, I'm going to just use the actual case as a stand. And so now I'm looking at the KOMUTR app, and if I tap on the earbuds, it will give me a lot of information. It shows me that my case is getting a pretty low on charge at 19%, but left and right are both fully charged in the high 90s, which I consider to be fully charged. And there's not a huge number of things you can do. The biggest control here on the front is that you can change ANC levels, as I just did, and I can go to ambient aware. And what I hear is only subtly different because I'm in a quiet space right now, but in a noisy environment, whenever you go to noise canceling, all of a sudden everything just sort of becomes a little more isolated. It's kind of a cool effect. And in terms of other things I can do here on the top right, I can get to an equalizer, so I can choose and adjust the balance left-right, but I can also choose how I want the sound to be reproduced. And there's different presets. Mega bass sounds good. Hi-fi, we'll leave it on hi-fi. And then I'm going to use the arrow to go back. And then on the top left, there's a gear icon. And so this gives me a lot more controls over the KOMUTR earbuds. So I can customize the touch commands. I could have the notifications be beep and voice or beep or voice. And so I'll tell you that, like, when I finish a phone call, it says end call. And so if you don't like that sort of feedback from the device, then you can easily turn that off. Into audio, we get to the equalizer. I've changed the name to KO1. I like really short names. I can activate Find My. I'm not going to do that right now. Environmental detection. So a lot of this is to do with that ENC. And honestly, this is kind of nerdy audio numbers here. Let's see. Firmware update. Probably the most important thing is to make sure that you're updated. And it looks like I am running the current version. So here's an example of where they might tweak the interface a little bit, because on the very light gray, it says current version, but then there's still the update now button. I would suggest that that button say you're up to date so that people know, oh, wait, do I have an update? Because I have to tap that button, right? But tiny, tiny nits, little things to do. But all in all, I would say they've done a really nice job. It's a really simple app, and there's not much complexity you need from the app to control your earbuds. It's just, here's a couple of things you can do. You can adjust some of the feedback mechanisms and stuff. All in all, the experience of using these is really nice. So what I really appreciate about them is that they're light and they're comfortable. And of course, this is really all about the engineering and the idea that you can just put these on the back of your phone because of MagSafe, and it'll charge, it'll do whatever it needs to get it all fully functional, and it's ready to go. And you can just use your phone just like that with no further fuss or hassle. Really, really well engineered. So we should talk about the sound, because that's the other big topic. And I'll say they sound good. They're not great. They're not like high-res audio or something, but they're entirely functional. I'd say these are great commuter earbuds. I guess that's why they have that in their name. But if you're like on, taking the train to work, or you're in a car, or whatever, you're like at school and you're walking between classes or something, then these are really great. And the idea that you actually have Find My and that they actually snap on because of MagSafe makes them really easy to work with and a little bit harder to lose than regular earbuds. And that's a huge win. Are they absolutely the best sound in the industry? Definitely, that's not what they're aiming for. And in fact, that's not what they're trying to do with their price either. These are on Kickstarter. And I'll tell you, the campaign is running right now as I publish this video, and they're worth checking out. So I'll get to the price in just a second. Before we get there, I am going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications, and if you found this of value, and I certainly hope you did, give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Excellent. So, price-wise, these are the Artronic Commuter TWS MagSafe Earbuds, and they come in white or gray or purple or blue. Really nice color palette, actually. And a little complicated because it's on Kickstarter, so the MSRP, the sort of suggested retail price that they're aiming for, is $149. But if you back them on Kickstarter, which just means you're buying them a couple of months in advance, obviously they're in actual devices. This is not something that they're going to start designing once you go and support them on Kickstarter. If you back it on Kickstarter, they're $99. So $99 for TWS earbuds that have ANC and ENC, and obviously fit onto the back of your MagSafe or Qi 2 with magnet charging device, and then give you a lot of additional convenience. I think they really hit on a great design here. I think these are ones definitely to check out. And if you're tired of losing your earbuds, that Find My is going to be great. And I just want to point out, that's Apple Find My. These become part of the Apple Find My ecosystem. So it's not like they have a whole new system all their own. These will work. And then there are, of course, hundreds of millions of iPhones and other devices in the Find My network that help report locations. So if you lose them, you should be able to find them. And that by itself might make these worth backing. But there's a lot going for these. I think it's really fun. That's what I got. I'm going to go back to my music, so I'll catch you in my next video.